Y'all ready? Are you ready? Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? This is going to be an epic Lionsgate. An epic Lionsgate. So let's get started. Let's get it. Let's go. We're gonna play the intro. We're gonna get it going, okay, guys? And here we are. Ooh, child. Sometimes I crack myself up with that darn music. How y'all doing? How is everybody? Welcome, 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 welcome to the channel. I appreciate y'all being here late on a Sunday evening instead of early one Sunday morning. Breakfast ain't on the table. Okay. Dinner is done. So I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you so much. We're going to get right into it. We are going to get right into it. Oh, I got so much editing to do. All right, we are here tonight. We are gathered here together tonight to talk about the Lionsgate portal. I will tell you right off rip. Okay. I'm going to be looking at this chart at the same time that you're looking at. Well, I don't know. You probably have looked at the chart, but this is going to be my first take. This is going to be a channeled message in regard to the chart, in regard to what I think I'm going to use a little Indian temple in regard to what we should be expecting. I have some feelings about in regard to some things that already I kind of have seen just in my meditation time and as I've been kind of monitoring what's going on with other people. So I'm going to, just kind of give us a little bit of holy fire. A little holy fire. So let's welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, Melinda. Thank you for being here. Hey, Sky, welcome back, baby. You ain't ready? You're not ready? Okay. Hey, sweet Harmony, how are you, dear? Hello, Illuminating Mystic Sounds and Oh, I like that name. Illuminating Mystic Sounds and Meditations. Can one of my mods, if you have a moment, can you please go to their site and please post their YouTube channel? I would very much appreciate it. Hey, Shiny, how are you? I know you've been waiting on this girl. I know you have. Hey, Miss D, how you doing, baby? How's it going? How is it going? How is it going? Else do we have in the house? Miss Gorgeous Greer. Yes. Hello in Detroit. Hello from the Madison, Wisconsin area. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much, sweets. Thank you so much. I went on and just I said, let me get a little bit of a print going on here today. I'm really liking this hair color. Complete aside, this feels very Leo, doesn't it? This feels very lion. Hey, Lady D, how are you? Grand evening, grand evening. Michelle B, all right. Hello. Yes, weekend already. Listen, it's the end of the weekend. So I'm just so glad y'all are here hanging out with me in this evening. I really appreciate it. Just be real. How are you, darling? Grand evening to you as well. We will continue to welcome people as they come in. You all make yourself comfy. The hair match, thank you. It does. Yes. I'm looking very melanated tonight. Looking very melanated. Miss Sunflower, good evening to you as well. Um, I'm looking very melanated. So I will tell everybody, if you've come into the room, I need my Egyptian gods. Where is that? I need my Egyptian. Y'all, I got receipts everywhere. I really, I wish some of y'all lived closer to Wisconsin or in Wisconsin, in Madison, so I could get some help, some local help. I have my Egyptian gods oracle. I think we're going to end up using them tonight. So I think we're going to end up using them tonight. Buenos noches, Southern Astrologer. I'm so glad you're open to receiving the messages. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Melinda. You guys go hit up Illuminating Mystic Sounds and Meditations. We're going to put the Southern Astrologer, we're going to put her information in the chat as well. And if I'm missing any content creators, please let me know. I do like to honor my content creators. Listen, we're not in competition, we're in coalition. Oh, that just came off my lips. We are not in competition. We are in coalition. I think that needs to be a caption down below. At we, oops, no, we are not in competition. We are in coalition. And as such, when we have our fellow creators that come into the room, I honor you. I honor you. And as new as those of you begin to, uh, you know, create your channels, which I really recommend that you do. I was actually just listening to some stuff. Let me tell you guys, those of you, some of y'all are not in our Practical Lightworker program. I'll be chatting with you all soon. Some of y'all to see about coming in. I'm about to have those of you that are in the Practical Lightworker program. I don't care if you've completed your 6 months or you're still, I don't care where you're at, because you're always welcome. Once you're with us, you're with us forever. I'm going to be doing another social media deep dive. Things have just YouTube, TikTok, and especially YouTube and Instagram have changed so greatly, their algorithms. It just in the last week to week and a half, it's time for us to do another deep dive. So I'm going to put that on the calendar. Don't ask me when, but it's going to be coming here in the next week or two. And that's what we do. We want to be sure that all of us light workers know these things. I might actually maybe do maybe a master class for that as well, so that all of you can participate in that, because I think we need to know these things. I know we need to know these things. Who else do we have in the house? Hello. Shivandra Holder, welcome. So, you guys, if you're here and you're listening right now and you see it says subscriber chat, you only have to be a subscriber for a moment, just literally for 60 seconds before you can chat. And the reason I'm doing that is because lately we've been getting hit a lot with bots, especially the adult kind of bots. I really don't have time for that foolishness tonight. And it just puts extra work on our mods. So, I appreciate it. If you stay subscribed, great. I mean, I welcome you. You are always welcome here in the tribe. And I love all my light workers. Okay. And we do a Southern Astrologer. I am going to Southern Astral. Okay, I'm going to drop this link I'm going to drop this link. Southern Astrologer. Hey, Ceresia, Southern Astrologer, please, the Southern Astrologer, please, if you want to join me now, you can. Again, we are going to be channeling. So if you're ready for that, then I'm ready for you. So this link at the moment is just for Southern Astrologer to join. I will open up the panel shortly, okay? I will open up the panel shortly. All right. And I thank you guys for understanding. I just don't want the bots. I can't do it. I cannot do it. I cannot do it. Shiny. Oh, that's right. Your birthday is tomorrow. Okay. All right. Okay. So, folks, yes, we are not in competition. We are in coalition here. And I'm also going to do what I like to try to do for everybody. Shiny. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Shiny. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, my dear. Happy birthday. And let's welcome to the panel the Southern Astrologer. Hello, darling.
Well, hello, hello. It
How
is
are you?
so fantastic to be back here with you today.
Twice in one day, I don't know to what. I owe the honor of having you here. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I always absolutely love when I can have someone else here, of the astrology ilk, and we can chat about what's going on. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me. I totally appreciate it.
All right. So what I'm gonna do is I already have. Now I'm full disclosure. In between the last live and this live, I had time to eat and to finish up a couple other points of things I needed to do. So I did not have time. So I'm going to be hearing from you at the same time that we're hearing from me. And so this is just going to be a flow. Just going to be a flow. Okay. So I'm excited. I'm going to bring up the chart. Let me see how this is all laying out. Are we better off over here? Bear with me just one sec. I kind of want them to be able to see us a little bit better. Okay, I'm gonna go with the chart this way, guys. Okay. Oh, creations from within. Hey, Trish, I haven't seen you in a month of Sundays, girl. How are you? Okay. And I'm not from the South, and I literally just said that. Okay. I'm going to give
It's kind of
you.
contagious.
I will say this complete aside, guys. I do rabbit trails, everyone. So I grew up in Milwaukee. My father was from Chicago. I attended Northwestern University, which is right outside Chicago in Evanston, Illinois. And I attended Proviso Missionary Baptist Church with my grandmother, my paternal grandmother. So she was originally from Arkansas, and a lot of people from the South migrated years back up to Chicago. So when you attended, if you lived in the neighborhood or you attended Black church, you just picked up a lot of Southernness. It was just, it was a must. So, anyway, so that's where I get a lot of my Southern sayings from growing up. My young adulthood, my formative adulthood years were spent in Chicago. All right. So, Southern Astrologer, I'm going to go in a little bit and we'll just kind of banter back and forth. Is that okay with you?
Sounds fantastic.
Okay. First things first. Pop it. Oh, sorry. First things first. The first thing I noticed about this Lionsgate right now is, let me make this. We have Saturn in opposition to the sun, Saturn in retrograde in the sixth house, the sun, this is from the perception of the earth. If you were born on 8/8 at approximately noon here in Wisconsin, so the sun, you will be a 12th house Leo sun, which presents its own set of unique issues. um, but it would be opposing Saturn in retrograde in Aquarius, but then we have this. Now I learned this technical term last month, and now I don't remember it. But this is this kind of square that's kind of giving us a bit of relief because the apex on this square is, I would technically call it a T square. So I feel like quite strongly, definitely to Uranus and the North Node that are still conjunct, even though the Node is moving on and and Mars is moving on. I'm going to still call this Mars Uranus North Node stellium a conjunction, this Rahu stellium a conjunction, and this being a T square. What initially, when I look at this, how I'm feeling these energies is we already know the very strong unpredictability, yet tremendous push for us to move into who we came here on an evolutionary scale to be. And to do it in perhaps a unique way that we had not either thought of before, or to bite the bullet and do whatever it takes for us to make significant steps towards our purpose. The interesting thing for me as well is that Uranus and Rahu are straddling the MC. So they are in the 9th house of this personal, philosophical, like, I am that I am that I am, and I know who I am. I'm just remembering and finally perceiving who I am. And it's awakening to me. And Mars, just on the other side of the border in the 10th house, the house of career, still in Taurus, is saying it's time to possess that in totality and implement that in who you're seen as, how you're known, how you earn, right? Taurus being the I have sign, 10th house being Capricorn sign, the house of work, career, structure, and all of that, it's time to restructure who you are, or who you are showing up as in the earth, as a result of finally being able to fully perceive, or at least have a greater perception. Now, this is individual. This is not the mundane. And as an individual, you're finally beginning to perceive your I am presence. By that, both squaring both the sun in Leo and um, Saturn in retrograde in Aquarius, I find that interesting, because I feel like for some of us on an individual basis, there may have been issues that we've seen with our health, and we're beginning to learn that we got to eat differently, move differently, do some things differently, because our health is, I'm not saying failing us. I'm saying it's kind of out of alignment in order for us to move forward into collective consciousness servitude. That's being very much illuminated by the sun being in opposition. And the 12th house sun in Leo can be so tricky, because while that is that kind of very mystical, dreamy house, sometimes it's like, sometimes we can feel almost that we may have an overinflated image of ourselves, or other people might think that we do. And other times, there's also, to me, a loyalty factor in this as well. Like, we're seeing who's not loyal. We're seeing, and actually, we kind of saw that earlier in our earlier conversation, and that can also relate to Saturn in retrograde in Aquarius, and the fact that kind of I feel every time I see a retrograde, a planet in retrograde, I always thank it because it's giving us an opportunity to kind of see behind the curtain. I take retrogrades a little different and see people's motivations. We might see some people backpedaling. I feel like structurally, mundanely, there's a lot of lie. Yeah, I just said it anyway. There's a lot of lying going on. We got a lot of Mandela effects, redefining things that we previously knew what the definition as a collective consciousness, what the hell it was. Redefining, restructuring, basically kind of doing a lot of underhanded changes in the foundational structure of how the collective operates on a third dimensional level. And a lot of that, to me, it's no shock that, um, the monkey disease, you know what I'm saying, has like now they're redefining all of this. And I was just hearing about something else recently. Like there's this resurgence of HIV. There's this, I'm hearing about there's something else going on over in Africa. They're always blaming us, or blaming the motherland. But there's a lot of these very interesting things happening right now. In fact, I also just saw Yahoo News put out an article today saying that we're going to see a resurgence of baby drop boxes for women who feel they are unable to care for their newborn child. I don't know where there's ever been a baby drop box. I've heard of a ballot box, a mail drop box, a FedEx drop box. I can put my water bill in the drop box. I ain't never heard of putting no child in a drop box. Okay. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there. I swear to God, go on Yahoo News if y'all don't believe me. I'm not pulling it up right now. Anyway, that's what Sky with the Moloch worshipers. Okay, just chill, baby. Just chill. That's kind of, I'm going to give that as kind of an initial. Do you want me to continue and then do you want to add in, or how do you want to play this off? Do you want to play it off by transit or by aspecting, or what? How do you want to do this, dear?
Well, I was more so listening to you and how you were positioning the astrological effects. And I noticed that you had mentioned Rahu. And Rahu in the sense of Vedic astrology. That's how I look at Rahu.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have a tendency to err towards the Western astrology, where we're kind of talking about things that are not necessarily um, based in ancestral lineage. There is a little bit of that, but that's more so when we focus on Chiron. So
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to get some context into how you were viewing the astrological impacts. Um, I do understand the reasons why you had mentioned the square aspect
Mm-hmm.
and what Saturn in retrograde can actually bring to the equation. And that Saturn in retrograde for me represents, especially when we're looking at Aquarius from a community aspect,
Mm-hmm.
it's in a sense relinquishing a little bit of the reins,
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because Saturn has a tendency to want to restrict and control in a sense that it wants to make it stable. So within the community, within an Aquarian type of an energy, there's a little bit of an instability
Mm-hmm.
so that the community can move towards the place that it needs to be. So more so towards that north node. And that north node, well, with that Uranus being there, and I do agree that that is a conjunction, because of all those planets kind of congregating there. And we think that we don't necessarily look at the North Node as being a planet, but it is an aspect and it plays a pivotal role.
Mm-hmm.
Just the same way in which that south node does. And we oftentimes forget about that south node.
Mhm.
Uh, and it's become increasingly more important because we're having to look back at that south node to see if we really want to go back in that direction, because that Scorpio there is asking you as an individual and as part of the collective of whether or not you want to keep whatever it was that we had originally been kind of starting out with. So you will see some of these monkeypox. You will see some of those ancient kinds of maladies
Mhm.
pop up because it's asking the question, do we really want to go back to those times? And I think that the collective would say, no, we don't, but we are having a tendency to kind of march in that direction all at the same
Mhm.
time. So we're
Mhm.
doing what we say we don't want to do, but it's quite possible that we're doing that so that we can actually see what it is that we really want to do. I
Mhm.
hope that makes sense.
It does. So that's very interesting to me. Now that I just, guys, for those of you that are looking at the charts, I just circled the South Node in Scorpio. It is in the third house, the house of Gemini, the house of Mercury, the house of thought, intellect, and all these things. Yes. And very speedy, um, quick change. Um, do you feel that that South Node in Scorpio, not only is it drawing us back to do we really want to go back to think this way, but do you feel that that can also be in a sense where, because that south node's not making an aspect really to anything. I mean, maybe we could say it's opposing Uranus, but according to this aspect in chart, it's kind of off on its own, right? It's not really doing much. Um, but it is opposing that Uranus North Node, of course, conjunction, Mars conjunction. Do you think that that's also not just do we really want to go back, but I almost feel like it's like we're being trying that we're being propelled, like we're being pushed, not to go further in evolution, but it's like certain entities and energies are really just trying to push us back into kind of a devolution.
Well, although it appears as though that south node isn't making any types of aspects,
Mhm.
because we look at it as so above as below, it is
Mhm.
making the same exact aspects that that north node is. So it
Mhm.
is also square that sun, and it is also square that Saturn. It may be
Mhm.
looking at it from a different perspective, but it is making some aspects and it is impacting you at a deeper level that you may not see, but you can feel it. And
Yes.
when it's in that third house like that, how I look at the third house is that that's the house of brethren to me.
Okay.
So, who have you been listening to?
Oh.
And do you want to continue to listen to them? Or has the frequency changed? Therefore, as I like to say, therefore, hashtag virgule comma, we may need to listen a little differently because that Scorpio is also all about change. So we've been through change before. Do we want to go through the same kind of change that we went through before? Do we want to go through a different type of change? And unfortunately, because you can't see it, you can only feel it. And also because that Scorpio, it's a water sign.
Mhm.
So it's not easily visible. You have
Mhm.
to feel that one. And those feelings are going to let you know whether or not you want to go and plant some things differently over in that Taurian energy. Because,
Mm-hmm.
as you had said, that's what I have. Those are my values. My values are changing. The community's values are changing. My values are no longer the same as the community's values. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to go and reach out to that sun over there in Leo, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to think back at what occurred back in February of this year when
Mm-hmm.
we had the full moon in Leo, we had a pretty good idea of where our values lied and whether or not we cared about what other people were saying because, well, we kind of figured that and learned that some of those people, some of that brethren didn't really know what the heck they were talking about.
Right.
So we felt it before we knew it.
Right. I also find it interesting in that conversation as well that the third house, so the third house is the cusp, is in Libra. So it's almost as if, to me, as I'm listening to you, so that would be in this chart, then the third house ruler would be Libra, not Scorpio. So, fellow, trining air sign, all about that balance, justice, as we're talking about the brethren and such, it's almost like we're kind of looking back to see where perhaps either there have been injustices done to us, done to the group. Like, I feel like a lot of things are just being illuminated to us in our inner knowing. Like, we've thought about it before, but if we can kind of rely on that sun, that Uranus, Mars, and North Node conjunction, right, and even the Saturn in retrograde, we can see it. Like, we're coming up on the full moon in Aquarius that's going to be happening just on the 11th. So this is a very interesting juxtaposition of this Lionsgate because it is literally right before the full moon. I feel like it's showing us in a big way. Listen, this is the stuff 3 days hence you are going to need to release. This is the stuff 3 days hence that you are going to need to call in. You really need to pay attention to what's got you out of balance and what's going to bring you back into balance. What do you think about that?
Well, I do think that there is a sense of, especially when we talk about Libra, because I'm a Libra. I've got a whole lot of planets in Libra. And the thing with, I still would say that that South Node is in third house in Scorpio, and not so much in the Libra aspect. But you have to, when you shine that spotlight, the way I like to look at the sun in Leo, it's like it's a beacon of light. And when you go ahead and you shine that flashlight, it's going to illuminate not just what's right there in front of you, it's going to illuminate what's out there. And so you're going
Right.
to be able to see in the dark, basically.
Right.
And so you're going to bypass and you're going to see a little bit what's going on with Libra. And
Right.
because Libra has that tendency, and that's where those values and brethren kind of come in. And it's not an us against them, it's a me against me. Because when we look at Libra is everybody else, that balance. But at a sense, we forget that there's a me included in that group. And so it is at this point in time where we have to ask ourselves, that we're asking ourselves as far as a Libra perspective, is what am I going to choose?
Mm-hmm.
And so I've got this little thing that I do with the astrology, and I liken it to a garden. And everything in that garden, every sign in that garden has a role. And
Mm-hmm.
the role of Libra in that garden is to reap what you sow. It is to choose what it is that you have planted. And the thing with Libra is that, well, we like to go ahead and choose everything. If we're going to plant some spinach, well, we're going to take baby spinach, the bad spinach, the not ready spinach, the old spinach. We're going to take all the spinach.
Mm-hmm.
And we are at a point of where we can't take all of it. We actually
Right.
have to choose. And
Right.
so I believe that in coming up on this south node that we're choosing differently. People are going to choose differently.
Yes. And I think that's directly because of the Mars Uranus North Node conjunction. Like I feel like there's just we don't. I mean, some people can choose. They can choose. Like they can say that the choice I have to make is too hard, and I'm not going to ride anybody about that. I'm not going to ride anybody about that. But I feel like as a collective, though, it's almost like we're like we don't have any choice. Like we have to choose differently for our own preservation. Like we just can't continue to go on like this.
Well, I agree, but there's no buts. Because if I say but, then that means that everything that I said prior to that but doesn't make any hill of beans. So I would say that yes, we have to look at our own preservation. And our own preservation comes with some consequences. And it's whether or not we're willing to take those consequences as at an individual level and at a collective level.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see, when we look at that part of fortune that's sitting right there in Capricorn, that is in building and in structure. And so therefore that is where our wealth is from a financial perspective. And so we're always going to have our eye on what that wealth is. Now, we may redefine whether or not it is a Bitcoin or cryptocurrency or whether or not it's karma points. But I think that's where we are in the process of deciding what that is. What is that value going to really look like? What is that part of fortune really going to look like for us all?
Right. Right.
And then who gets to decide that?
Well, considering the fact that that is in now, I would say it's in a personal house, right? There's a lot of personal sign and personal house activity going on here, right? So that's in the personal house of Leo, right? The fifth house. So I would say that we should be the ones to decide on that. I mean, I would say take the opportunity to be the one to decide. Let me put it that way. Because
Absolutely.
you also have the moon, which is in Sagittarius, but just scooted on this side of that fifth house. And again, and so I do a lot of cusp kind of things. So I blend, the energies of both of the signs when they're, like this. So for me, I'm like, okay, we got a lot of Sagittarian energy. We got a little bit of Sagittarian energy at that very potent tail end of the sign that's mixing in with that Capricornian energy. And the moon is right there. So this to me would give us this opportunity to feel like we can truly do anything. And that's going to me, bring a significant sense of like lady luck, a significant energy of fortune, right? Because if I'm looking at the aspects, then it's a sextiling Saturn here. And interestingly enough, it's squaring Neptune in retrograde in the eighth house, and I can chat about that in a second. Um, to me, that would again, I deal with retrogrades differently probably than other people, which is cool. I always look at it as like, okay, we're stopping and pausing. If I look at the big boys, all the big boys are in retrograde, except for Uranus. Jupiter, Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto are all in retrograde right now. All of this big, heavy, like cray energy that we've been having, and that's been good energy. I've enjoyed it. Has kind of come to this halt, and is like, okay, I'm going to wait and see all those dreams, aspirations, big growth, expansion, new ideas, new technologies, new spiritual technologies, if you will, I like to say, all these changes, economic changes right here with Pluto and at the tail end of Capricorn refusing to leave. It's not trying to go. Um, it's like I've been showing you all this now. So now what are you going to do with it? Because we're all going to take a step back and let you be revolutionary if you have the guts to do it. Okay, I'm going to step back now. Go ahead.
Well, yes, it is about guts. It is about tenacity. It is about stepping away from fear, uncertainty, and doubt. In the marketing world, we use that for quite some time to get people to do things that we wanted them to do. So fear, uncertainty, doubt is definitely a thing. Now, when we look at that, I mean, I love Sagittarian. I'm a Sag rising.
Yes.
And what I see with that moon in Sag is that, well, sometimes Sag can be a little reckless because Sag likes to
Spoken
go.
like a Libra, by the way. Spoken like a true Libra. Go ahead.
So that Sag can be just a tad bit reckless. And with Sag's ruler being in Aries, so the place of the traditional owner of the first house of self, we're trying to not be emotionally reckless. So, in that effort to drive towards self actualization and self realization, we also have to make sure that we're not reckless in the process. And just like many other things, recklessness is in the eye of the beholder. Some people might say it's innovative. Some people might say that going out and pursuing all of these opportunities is a reckless thing to do because you need to go and become an accountant. But what occurred in the past and what was the right path in previously, because let me go ahead and put this. I was having a conversation with my mama the other day about this, and I said, as I've started out on my endeavor, I've been doing astrology for close to 30 years now. And so I have been a student and a practitioner of this art. Yes. And it is a new language. And this language evolves based on how much I grow. So how I interpret the chart versus how someone else, how a Taurian or a Cancerian may interpret the chart may be slightly different. But we're all going in the same direction. We all want the same thing. And so what I had said to my mama was that, well, I'm going to go down this path. And she said, well, I think you need to go this way. And I said, well, Mom, the problem is that I have been trained by society and by you to go and work in corporate. And so I did that. And that didn't necessarily quite work out for me. Even though I tried and tried and tried, that maybe it's about time to do something different. And because I'm at a point in my life where I can do that. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody can go off on their path and just be them. And so those people that are not in the position to be able to do that just yet, I think the onus is on us to show them how it can be done and why it is worthwhile. So that when they are able and when they are capable of going down that path, that we have at least laid the asphalt for them.
I love that. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. And that feeds directly into my next point that I do not want us to forget, why this is a true portal. There's a lot of, let me just drop this down. This would be interesting to see if you agree with me. There's a lot of dates that are thrown out here that they'll be like, oh, it's a 5-5 portal. Oh, it's a this portal. Oh, it's a that portal. Not every matchy number is a portal. Is it significant numerologically? Perhaps, probably. But not everything is a portal. So, for those that do not know the history of the Lionsgate portal, the Lionsgate portal actually was known back in ancient Kemet. And it was when Sirius and Orion, sister stars, our very own, right, were in alignment with the Great Pyramid in Giza. So it was believed, and there was a lot of higher spiritual consciousness, higher thought, I'll just put it that way, wisdom, knowledge. There was a lot of information, transmission done. It was believed that this was when the spiritual son of our sun was speaking to us in a dualistic, yes, manner with the two sisters, but yet speaking. So this is a true portal. This is a true time all the way dating back to the ancients that they understood, not understood, they understood that the access, the veil, the opportunity, this is a magical time. And this is a magical opportunity to make great spiritual strides. And at the same time, with this lovely little, I think this is why we're seeing some of the things we're seeing with this lovely little south node down here at the bottom here, um, down through here. I feel like that's also why some of the spiritual leaders might be saying, oh, well, we might not want to do that anymore, or let's just not, because now I'm looking at everything that anyone's trying to squash and censor. And now I'm even taking a new look at it to see what power is there for me to unlock. Because evidently, y'all don't want me to unlock that power. That's not my theory, my summation, my allegedly. So I just want everyone to remember that. So or that's again my thought process. Do you want to talk, where do you want to go from here? Do you want to talk about kind of this moon and how its aspects? I definitely want to be sure that we hit on what's happening over here with Brother Mercury, because Brother Mercury is making some very significant aspects as well. Where would you like to go next so that I can uh honor
Well,
you and your depth of information and wisdom?
oh, wow. I mean, I do want to say that I agree with you with regards to the numbers and the portals. I've done a little bit of numerology, and so I respect that practice, and that not everything is is a uh, is a portal, right? It depends on who it's impacting and what has essentially lit up for you. And you mentioned the word magic. Um, I spent some time in the desert,
Oh,
and
wow.
I found myself in the desert. And the way that occurred was in the sense of a dream. It sounds well, in this community it doesn't sound strange, but it was an awakening. And the question was posed to me if I wanted to see some magic. And I said, "Well, sure." And the my spirit guide said, "1, 2, 3." And I like woke up from sleeping. And I said, "Well, that is the definition of magic. when you wake up and you realize that you are awake. And I
Mhm.
think that this 8/8/2022 for
Mhm.
many people is that 1, 2, 3, I'm awake. Now, if you wake up and you see that you done some shit that you are not going to want to be held accountable for, well, you might plead the 5th, the May 25th, the 8th of the 8th, the 12th of the 12th, and the 11th of the 11th. So I just wanted to go ahead and say that I do agree with you with regards to these numbers, and that this
Yeah.
portal is actually one because based on the astrology that I've seen, there's absolutely nothing standing in your way of accomplishment and moving forward. So it's the one time where obstacles are actually at home while you are up doing your thing.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. This is the moment to move.
yeah.
Now, if officially it closes on 8/9. However, I just feel intuitively again because it's so in such close proximity to the full moon that we're going to see kind of an extension of this energy. You might have a few more extra little obstacles like hanging out, after this is done. But it's not going to be any I don't feel personally it's anything insurmountable with the right perspective. With
Absolutely.
the right perspective. Oh, we have a question on what happens on 520 what happened on 525.
That's, Beltane, I believe.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We're gonna have my dear sister here, because she's got a wealth of astrological. I just channel this stuff. I just pretend I play one on TV. But we're gonna have her on here much more often so she can assist us because this is just fabulous. Um, I really enjoy it. Okay, mods, can you guys drop Jace's? Hi, Jace. Can you guys drop Jace's channel in the chat as well for us? And for those of you just coming in, welcome. I so very much appreciate you. Our motto tonight is we are not in competition, we are in coalition. So, all of my YouTube creators, as you are coming into the room, please if I don't see you and acknowledge you, please let us know you have a channel, and the moderators will put your channel name in the chat. We are not in competition, we are in coalition, and we are building that coalition. I do want to take one more quick moment and we're going to get back to the gets. I'm putting on I finally, y'all, finally got this darn thing together. I'm putting on the crawler down below, and I will need to. I'll get the information and put it in the chat. The website for the meditation masterclass is up and it's ready to go. I'm Please go. It happens on Sunday. I know I didn't give y'all a whole lot of time. Y'all got a week. Y'all are fine. I want y'all to go and register for that. Now, there are a lot of us that are here that are coaches, that are healers. I cannot spell. Here we go. There are coaches, healers, teachers, all sorts of different. Okay, I don't know why that popped up right away. Anyway, we're doing all sorts of things, right? So I want you all to feel free. Let me go and share this. Please come if you have sat in any of my guided meditations. I have a specific methodology that I use unconsciously, consciously. And or yes. And so I want to teach you all the differences, what guided meditation really is, what it is not, how to make a great guided meditation, why use it rather than mindfulness meditation. Most of the quote unquote guided meditations that we have out here are really mindfulness meditation. This is a whole different ball game. This is why my meditations, I'm, just going to pat myself on the back, tend to be much more transformative and very powerful, because I'm tapping into an energy very specifically, very intentionally, to accomplish something that is outside of just ourselves. It has to do with us, but it's very different. It's more along the lines of more like a shamanic journeying, but not quite that either. So I want you to have this tool to help your clients make massive transformations. And I'm also going to teach you guys literally, I'm going to give you the secrets to audio editing, the secrets to the do's and don'ts of video editing, how to produce quality meditations, all those how to's. And the VIP experience, not only going to get the recordings of the masterclass, but you're going to step by step guide, an e-guide that I'm putting together, putting the finishing touches on, so that you'll know boom, 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 step by step. You'll get a list of the frequency ranges for the meditations and what they correlate to, how to teaching on how to create your own mantras, your own affirmations, or where to find some to use, aromatherapy for meditation, and some of the do's and don'ts about posting on social media. That is the VIP experience. That is 197. This whole 3 hours, honestly, with everything I'm putting in here, at least $777. We're doing it $97 for our first run here. This is at least a $1444 value, and we're putting it at $197. So go and register today. I'm considering limiting space just because I want to be able to give people some serious attention. We're going to be together for 3 hours on the 14th of August. So please do consider doing that as well. All right. Yes, we do love the Southern Astrologer. Yes, we do. Absolutely, we do. Hey, Levon, how are you? We're going to say some more hellos. How are you, Levon? And Levon's imagination, thank you very much for sharing, guys. We really want to be able to work. Is there a typo in the link? Let me see, y'all. Bear with me. I am so sorry, my dear. Hang on. Seriously. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put the link in the chat and I'll fix it. So bear with me 1 second. Here is the link in the chat. Meditation masterclass. Also, guys, if any of you guys want to be an affiliate for Heart of Inspiration, meaning that you could actually earn commissions by sharing this masterclass and other things, other programs and opportunities with your friends, email me at admin@heartofinspiration.net, and I will get you a link where you can even earn referral bonuses for being a dear and doing that with us. All right, now back to our regularly scheduled program. Back to our regularly scheduled program. Let me make sure. I don't know. Oh, yeah. It should have said meditation. My God, today. Sometimes I have a problem. Okay. Sometimes. All right, let's get back here. Oh, is Dana here? Hey, dear Dana, how are you, baby? How you doing? I didn't see you come in. All right, my guys. All right. So let's continue on now with the rest of the thing. Hey, thank you so much for letting me know. Let's continue on with the rest of the chart. There's a few other things I wanted to talk about here. And then we can kind of open it up. My dear friend Mercury, Venus, excuse me. I meant Venus. I'm looking at her and I'm saying something else. I'm calling her by her wrong name. My dear Venus, chilling in the 11th house in Cancer. She is trining Neptune in retrograde, and she is in opposition to Pluto in retrograde in Capricorn. And then Pluto, as we said before, is actually sextiling Neptune. What do you make of that? How do you view those aspects, or do you take any of, like, how do you feel about that?
Well, Venus is my homegirl. And so she has a tendency, especially when she is in Cancer, she would like to nurture and love on everything. And unfortunately, you are not able to love and nurture everything. So you're going to have to choose. And that Pluto is going to make you choose. And that Neptune is going to let you know, because, Neptune over there in Pisces thinks that he knows exactly how this is all going to work out. But he don't. He don't know how it's going to work out because he's in retrograde. And he doesn't exactly know what Venus over there is going to decide to nurture. Because with Cancer, now, I know you're a Cancerian and everything. And because Cancer is ruled by the moon, what happens is that, well, those emotions change. And it depends on what's bumping up against those emotions. So you're going to have to catch those emotions on a good day to make sure that you are acting in the way that you really want to nurture going forward. So every 6 months or so, if you want to hold something for 6 months, what is it that you want to hold for 6 months? Do you want to hold weeds? And remember, I take everything and I look at the chart and I say, okay, this is a garden here. And everybody's got a role in the garden. And the role of Pisces is to de-weed and take care of the garden. Now, because it's usually at the end, well, the things that end up coming to at the end, well, there's usually some dead weeds. And Pisceans have a tendency to water dead plants. So when you're making that aspect from Venus to Neptune over there in Pisces, do you want to continue to
You're not
water
finna have
that?
these Pisces mad at me. You're not finna. Piscean trines, that Libra said that. I didn't say that. That Libra said that. Go
But the
ahead.
Pisceans know this about themselves, that they have a tendency, because they have faith, that that plant is going to come back to life if they give it just enough attention, if they talk to it enough, if they nurture it enough. But are you going to continue to nurture something that has a very small, slim chance of coming back to life and choosing? Because when you do that, there are choices, there's consequences. What that means is that you can't go over there and nurture the thing that actually does have a fighting chance. So that's where these choices are going to come in. That's what that opposition is looking at and saying, where do we want to build? What do we want to change? Are we going to continue to water these dead roses, or are we going to go and plant some new seeds? And are we going to go in a different direction? So that's what I think my homegirl, old Venus over there in Cancer, is doing. She's having a look at what it is that she wants to hold and love and hug on for the next 6 months to 18 months.
That's very interesting. So, yes, everyone, I am a Cancer sun. I'm also an Aries moon, though, in a Cap rising. So everything is on opposition and squaring, and it just, you know, sometimes I don't know which way is up. Although I'm glad, because I'd never really truly just sit in my feelings long enough for me to be a
Yeah,
typical
that Aries
Cancer.
moon won't let you do that.
Oh no. And I'm a seventh house stellium. So I have all that kind of Libran-esque energy to deal with as well. It can be a good thing. Sometimes it could be a bad thing because sometimes I want to collaborate too much, but we'll talk about that another time. Anyway, when I look at this, how I feel, Cancer, we feel everything. I feel like Neptune in retrograde gives me the opportunity to see what either has been delusional of me or has been an actual, like, legitimate, high vibrational, high dimensional I am that I am, like an I am presence, dream, and imagination that can actually come into fruition in a very loving manner. That moon down there in Sag, and I'm speaking from personal experience. I was not going to share this, but I feel like it's time. It's story time. Y'all ready for the story time? Practical applications of astrology. So, everything you just said, what are you going to hold on to? What are you going to release? It's time to make this decision. I feel like Venus in Cancer is kind of softening that blow. It's softening us up. So, it's softening it up to be like, listen, baby, it's going to be okay. But we just really got to make a choice. Which way are we going? Those changes, Pluto in Capricorn, those like personal foundational changes, all the foundational changes around you, how you've built your house, how you've built your life, all these things, all these rugs have been continually pulled off from underneath you. Also, Uranus in, its long transit in Taurus. And it's time for you to say, okay, I'm not going to sit here and stand on quicksand. I'm gonna make the change I need to do to get to solid ground. And that change has to be made internally first so that I can go on and actually manifest that which what I have just only before up until now dreamt of. And it's giving us, I can say this for a fact, that moon in Sagittarius and moving into these aspects as it's moving in, because this is tomorrow, right? But the moon is in Sag today, gave me kind of some of this courage to have some very tough conversations with some people, one person in particular, that I had been dreading to have. And when I say dreading, it's really was more of I was so sitting here going, I'm really kind of afraid of really what the outcome is because I care about this person so much, but I got to care more about me than this other person. And I finally had the courage. I know y'all are shocked, but I finally had the courage last night to say it and to say lovingly, listen, I got mad feelings for you, but these things got to change. Or even in dealing in things in the household. Listen, y'all, there's some things that's gonna have to change because mama's a little uncomfortable with some things and we gotta talk. And being able to have those conversations or in business or, in all different areas, I've found this like newfound kind of let me just say what I mean and mean what I say and not always try to sugarcoat it so that they can take the medicine better. Because what's happening is the poison is poisoning me. And I'm finally at a point where I'm ready to choose me. What that has done by acting and by moving in that energy has opened up doors and it's like, if you're flowing in this energy right now, it's like you can't be stopped. Like you were saying before, you just can't, like, all of a sudden, the windows have flung open, the gates are like, and the sun is shining in and making right a path and making a beautiful path, right? So it's so, of course I got to give the softer, the air sign's going to tell it to you like it is. She gonna give it to you straight, no chaser. I'm gonna give it to you a little chaser. I'm gonna give a little chaser. Oh wait, hang on. Let me illuminating mystic sounds and meditations. You are not alone, Dr. Lisa. Cap, Sun, Cancer, Moon, Leo, Rising, baby. It's tough when we have that fire. I mean, it's good because it balances us. It really does, which at times can be exhausting. It can be exhausting, but I love it. I love being a triple cardinal. Now, my team will probably tell you it's exhausting, but I'm bringing it in. Hello, LRGA, how you doing? So I really do feel like that's a lot. Aphrodite's nest. Oh, that's your Malika says, and Cancer loves to hold on to stuff. Yes, child. Oh, that's the other thing I meant to say. What are we going to hold on to for 6 months? You say that to a Cancer. I don't understand. What do you mean just 6 months? Like I physically have to, I physically, now it's about 3 times a year, I actually say this is the day I'm going through and doing what used to be a yearly purge of just stuff that I swear to God I'm going to use someday. And it has a lot of use. And, and every once in a while I get proven right when, we need that big old pan for the turkey or whatever. We got some kind of, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got a pan for that. With the rack too, baby. So you ain't got to worry about it. Just put it on the rack, you know. But we do that with our relationships too. We'll hold on to, honey, we'll gnaw at that bone. Ain't no meat left, as Tyler would say. Tom from Tyler's Tarot. Ain't nail lick of meat on there. But we're gonna hold on to it just in case them dry bones gonna reconnect and all of a sudden it's gonna come back to life. So Cancer, let it go. We gotta clear house. We got to clear house.
And tell your friends, the Pisceans, to do the same.
Let me you let me tell you what I feel like. You're Cancer rising, yes. You just wrote a letter to yourself. Oh, that's beautiful. I think that's beautiful. You just cleaned your closet. I cleaned up down here and I'm almost done. The Pisceans, that's interesting because my perception of the Pisceans, ever yes the optimist, but when it gets rough, they out. They would rather go do their deep dive and make us play Finding Nemo than they would like face it and head on. I'm not saying all Pisceans, don't get upset with me, y'all. But y'all are famous. Y'all the water ghosts, man. Y'all are out when it gets rough, and then you'll pop your head back up. But then if you come in too quick and talk, like I didn't put the right amount of bait on the hook, or I reeled that in too fast, because then you're like, whoa, and then they're gone again. So you think so Pisceans to you hold on to stuff, huh? Is that all us water signs? Because
Well,
we'll
yes,
hold it.
very, very emotional. I mean, water signs are very emotional. The least emotional of the water signs is obviously Scorpio, because Scorpio will get rid of anything. And the reason why they get rid of everything is because they know that they will be able to reinvent.
Right, they're
Because
constant transformation. They're always
Yes.
transforming. They're always dying and rebirthing. Like they've got that down pat.
Exactly.
They've
And
got
with
that down pat.
and with, Cancerians, what I find with Cancerians is that don't shoot me. you know, that Cancerians aren't very good with their emotions. They don't like them. Because they become very overwhelmed by those emotions. And so they spend a lot of time trying to not have those emotions, to not show those emotions. And so when you're spending a lot of time not trying to show something, you end up doing what? You end up hoarding those emotions. And so you've got too many. And so when you explode, you explode. When there's too many emotions, it's the so again, that Venus over there sitting in Cancer is like, hey, now you can't love all of these emotions. Some of these things you're gonna have to let go of. Because where
That's just
you're
because she's
going.
aspected with Pluto and she's aspecting, well, specifically with Pluto.
Yes. Yes.
Pluto's
And
like, we got to change this up. This ain't going to work.
right. And for everyone individually, this is occurring somewhere in somebody's house. It could be their first house, second house, third house, 10th house. In one of them houses, this letting go and deciding, making decisions on what it is you gonna love now and what you gonna love later. It's occurring for all of us. And the goal, the objective is to be aware of where that is occurring in your house and in your life and in your chart.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Which is, well, I don't mean to put you on the spot. So, which is why we going if y'all are really interested in finding this out amongst other things, we're going to be sure. She did not know I was going to do this. But I do want my dear sister here to let us know how we can get, natal transit, other types of readings from her. Cause y'all see she's the real deal. She's the real deal. And I'm putting my name on her, not just because she's clearly the real deal. We've had the opportunity to have worked together for the last few months as well. So, when we have an opportunity to work together, again, we're not in competition, we're in coalition. So, my dear sister, so I expect to have you to let me know how people gonna get in touch with you, because we're gonna get this thing happening. Cancerians are highly intuitive, almost prying. My neighbor guessed exactly where I worked. I never discussed my job or source of income. Well, now listen, baby, we don't try to pry. We're the mothers of the zodiac. So we pry like your mama do. I'm not saying your mama like that. We pry like your mother. We're everybody's mama. And Leos are everybody's daddy. Take that how you want. uh but yes, we're highly intuitive. We are the initiators of emotions. We are the cardinal emotion, the cardinal water sign. We're the
And
initiators of that. That's our superpower. And you have never lied, because I don't know how much you've ever heard me talk about my past. But when I first started going to the counselor, she said to me, "You have sat here and told me how you thought about everything, even highly traumatic experiences that I had just gone through. You sat here and told me how you thought about everything. You are completely out of touch with your feelings." And I had to admit that I was. I was very much out of touch with my feelings. Very much, but that's my superpower. Like, that's literally my superpower. That's how I'm a quantum catalyst. I'm a quantum space and a catalyst inside for change. And in order for me to have all this stuff and then help birth it, I have to have a wide breadth of emotions and emotional strength and intentional emotion. That's the problem with us Cancerians. We stuff it, we don't intend it and send it out. We don't do what we're supposed to do with it. We got you some more subscribers, my dear. Yay. Everybody click on that subscribe
Thank
button.
you.
We're going to be putting this out. Y'all laughing at me. Y'all can laugh at me if y'all want to. But she done told the truth. She done read my mail. I'm going to start seeing Killing Me Softly here. Because she done found all my letters and read each one out loud, baby. Um, let's look at this here, try to see if there's anything else we really want to discuss. I think those are the major things for me. I mean, we do have, I don't want to just toss this off to the side. We do have a trining of Jupiter in retrograde in the eighth house. Oh, by the way, Jupiter and Chiron and Neptune, all in retrograde, all in the eighth house between Pisces and Aries. I I feel like the real estate bubble is about to burst, maybe a little sooner than we had anticipated. Um, the stock markets I see having problems much sooner than anticipate. Well, they're already having problems, but deeper problems as well. Uh, this trine is a little, I would tell, for me, I feel a little problematic. Um, so from the emotional Cancerian side, I look at this and say, there's going to be a lot of gifts, quote unquote, things you've been given and gifted from people that you loved dearly that I feel like you're either going to find out were worthless or they're going to try to take them back or like what you didn't know before about that particular situation might be coming into sight now. And with Chiron right there in Aries, it's not aspecting, but with that Chiron there, I feel like it could potentially be very painful. And I also feel like there's also going to be a lot of, on a mundane level, even more secrets, hoodwinking, bamboozlement, illuminated on a global scale. And I think it's going to really shock a lot of people. I mean, that's the other side of this to me, of this, high spiritual consciousness that we're in is, yeah, it is a big wake up, but it's a big wake up. And I think some people who have chosen to stuck their head in the sand are now going to see that perhaps those conspiracy theories are at actuality conspiracy facts, so to speak, or the places, the people that you felt were going to take care of you and were behind you, or the large groups of people, let's just say, that you thought were going to be that thought were in your corner and they were here to help. You're going to find out really weren't. That's I didn't necessarily get that just from that aspect. That just kind of just started coming out. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna let you go on and take the astrological, not just the channeled intuitive side of things.
Well, I was I know I'm not sure. Well, I don't have a perspective with regards to the real estate. I mean, the only if I were to squint my eyes a little bit and try to divine some things, I would say that it was probably that Neptune. For the simple fact that I mean, it's the final, it's the house. It's you got to de-weed, it's the garden. That's where everything happens in the garden. But I wanted to look at this Mercury right here because this Mercury is actually in conjunct that Jupiter. And so what that says is that there is a conundrum. And so there's going to have to, again, this is all about choices, but it is more so, I've got it written down, is that basically this Jupiter and this Mercury, and when they're in an aspect like that, they don't really understand each other. So you have to start compartmentalizing in order for it to actually be able to do what it needs to do. So when we're talking about Virgo and analyzing, and we're talking about health, because you'd mentioned health
Yep.
earlier, right?
Yep. Yep.
And additional communication and things that are being discussed differently
Yep.
about an individual's health
Yep.
and different types of conversations. Well, I think that Mercury and that in conjunct or quincunx Jupiter is what's causing those types of things. So we're actually going to have to start compartmentalizing that information and putting that in and digesting that information the way that it really needs to be understood. So much in the same way where you'd mentioned that there's a lot of information out there that certain factions don't necessarily want us to have.
Mm-hmm.
But as that Jupiter in Aries is going to make sure that we get that information, you are going to make sure that you get the information that you need, regardless of who wants you to know about it. And what that all of that to say is that we're going to have to get that information and understand that information a little bit at a time, and to connect the dots along the way. Because trying to eat the whole elephant, well, that's just not going to work.
Well, that's very interesting because this up here says, I want it all. I want it all right now. To me, like that's the energy of, no, we're going to do this. We're going to do it right now. So that to me is a very interesting juxtaposition of energies that, or are you saying those that haven't woken up yet, it's going to be a slow drip rather than an immediate jolt?
I'm saying that that how I view this Taurian energy.
Yep.
This Taurian energy is really it's got Mars, and it's got Aries written all over it. And on top of that, it's got Uranus.
Yep.
Okay. And so what I see there is that because Taurus, remember, I'm in the garden, right? And the Aries is the seed, and Taurus plants the seed. And
Right.
so what that Mars is doing, it's going deep. And that Uranus there is there as far as technology,
Yep.
right? So we can like it in any kind of way, right?
Yep.
So that information is going really, really deep. And so and technology is going deep, and we're digging deep. Now, Taurus, because it's an earth sign, it's really just it's trying to root. We're trying to ground ourselves in something. What are we trying to ground ourselves in? Are we trying to ground ourselves in Leo? Are we trying to ground ourselves in Aquarius? Well, we can't really ground ourselves in either one of those things. It's going to have to be either we're going to ground ourselves in the information, or we're going to ground ourselves in the other earth sign that is Capricorn and stability. So that's what I see that Taurian energy doing. That Aries energy, on the other hand, now you can't tell if you've ever met an Aries or anywhere in your chart where you have Aries. You can't tell that Aries nothing. You can't tell that if that can be a peach seed. And that Aries will be like, well, I am going to be a tomato. And you can't tell that seed that it's not going to be what it's going to be. Because what it knows is that it's going to be successful. So when you've got Jupiter, planet of abundance, sitting up there in Aries, in a place where it says, I'm going to be successful, but it's over here making an in conjunct to that Mercury over there,
Mhm.
It's like, well, what information are we gonna use in order to be successful? And that Jupiter is saying, well, I don't give a damn what kind of information is coming. I'm gonna be successful.
Mhm.
So we're kind of having to go along without having all of the information, but having just and knowing that the information is there, that we will eventually get it because eventually that Jupiter is going to make enough of a transit to where it's going to be sextile or it's going to be trine or it's going to make a contraparallel or it's going to make a parallel and it's going to be in a positive aspect to be able to receive the information that we need.
Mhm.
Not sure if that makes sense.
It does. For m for me, when you so I'm gonna back it all the way up when you're like, Taurus is that earth energy, so it's looking for somewhere to ground. When I see Mars and Uranus, especially Uranus in Taurus, I feel like that energy specifically is trying to reset where we actually ground or how we ground as we're going through this evolutionary process. So if I'm going to fall back into that 8-8 energy of higher consciousness, I feel like that the aspects of between, this Mars North Node Uranus with the sun and with Saturn almost to me feels like, guys, guess what? You don't have to technically ground in Earth 3D as we've known it type energy. That there is like that we need a higher resonance of energy so that as you're grounding it, it becomes a little bit different. Just going off the mythology of Uranus itself himself, right? That he brought new technology to assist greatly in the evolutionary growth of humanity. So I feel like can't see her in again. I feel like that this is trying to say to us there's a there's a new set point that the universe is trying to get us to come up to. A new vibrational set point such that grounding then doesn't quite become quite as low. But grounding can almost be like almost let's just say for conversation's sake an octave higher.
Mhm.
I don't
Well, you've actually said it, and you've kind of proven my point a little bit here with what you just said.
know. Okay, let's go for it.
Okay. Well, so you drew that purple line from Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius, over there to that Uranus.
Mhm.
Okay. Who does Uranus rule?
Aquarius.
Aquarius, right? And so Saturn traditionally, obviously, it rules Capricorn, earth sign. So we've got some earth and earth kind of working together. So it's in the way I look at it, it's the first time that you've got elements working together. And we are
Mhm.
aware of the elements working together.
Imma do you one I'm gonna call you and raise you.
Okay.
Saturn originally, right, ruled both Capricorn and Aquarius, right? Originally before Uranus was discovered.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, in essence, to me that just further that proves further my hypothesis of elevating elevating the earth, elevating that earth element so that it can sustain and produce higher dimensional or 5D energy fruit rather than being stuck in the 3D quasi 4D.
Okay. I
This
you know,
this
I yes, that's my final answer. Because there's so many ways to
yeah.
interpret it, right? And it depends, like for me, my Taurus is in my 5th house, right? Your Taurus might be in a different house. And so how I'm looking at it, it's like where does building need to occur? It doesn't need to occur the way that it did before. It doesn't need to occur in corporate. It needs to occur in a place that it hasn't
Sure.
occurred before. And
Sure.
that is different for everyone. So that evolution, that innovation, for some people it's coming from within, right? And in
Mhm.
all actuality, I mean it's coming from the how deeply rooted we are in whatever belief system we have, or what we're trying
Mhm.
to uh, build here, what we're trying to root in, what we're
Mhm.
trying to cover the earth with.
Mhm.
So I kind of look at it that way, and that Aquarian energy, the community is giving us, let's put it, grace.
Mm.
Grace that we haven't ever really given ourselves. So we've always asked the community to give us that grace. And once
Mhm.
we've done that, we've accepted it. But
Mhm.
this is one of the few times that I'm aware of in my lifetime where we realize that we are actually part of the community. So I'm giving myself a little bit of damn grace, which
Yeah.
haven't done it in a very long time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I just had to check my Taurus is in. Taurus is in my 4th house.
Okay.
So that probably now makes a lot more sense to you as to why I'm talking the way I'm talking.
Yes. Which is also very interesting because since you're Cancerian and that's your natural house, that your Cancer actually rules that house
Mhm.
where your Taurus is. So there's some obviously some restructuring and some digging deep and some rooting and some folks say it's stubbornness, but it's not really stubbornness. It's like you're holding on to something of whatever it is that you have, whatever it is your value, that is what you're holding on to. And people oftentimes say that 4th house is, they say, oh, it's your house of home. I do believe it is your house of home. That's what we say in modern Western mundane astrology. But your home is also where your soul lives. And so
Amen.
that's right here.
Amen. Keep going, baby. I'm listening. Go ahead on. Go ahead on. No, I'm listening to you. You go on and preach, girl. Keep it going. Mhm.
So that your 4th house, Taurus, I mean, it's like where's the heart? Where am I rooting? And you're building new roots. You're making those stronger than they were before. And so that it does make sense of why you're coming from the angle that you're coming.
Which is why with everyone else, that's how the angle that I don't know any other way to build you
Mhm,
other than to build you from the soul up.
mhm.
I don't know any other way to do it. Very interesting. Very interesting. Hey, Chocolate Earth, I saw you coming in. She said something that shifted around us. Absolutely, it is. Blessings, Marina. How are you? She's a Taurus in her house. We gonna run your charts one day soon. Okay, wait, hang on. Let's look at Malika. I'd say look where this is happening in your natal chart. Yeah, yes, absolutely. Um Aquarius is also concerned with the collective. And we through collective consciousness created this, and now we have to change it, in my opinion. Hmm. That is a very interesting, layered conversation. Collectively, did we create this? To an extent, yes. Collectively, do we need to change it? To an extent, yes. Although there's multiple splits and splinters of collective. right now. Multiple. That we are all becoming aware of. I was listening to David Icke's latest interview on the Inspired channel, and he was talking about like lower vibrational energetic beings and them, the control of blah 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 blah. We're going to do a deep dive into his stuff because it was very interesting to me. However, I was just like, dude, you just come into the party? Like, you're just now coming to this party where you're like, oh, that's what some would call demons, and some would call this, and some would call that. That's this realm that's in the lower fourth dimension and all this jazz. And I'm just like, you just now coming here? Like, it's just shocking to me. So, and I just say that to say that I find it very interesting, even in the collective that's woken up, the splintering off, the splitting. I think that it's as the earth raises her vibration, as New Earth continues to emerge as a tangible entity or reality, it's going to be interesting to see how much of what collective goes where, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We're going to take a little bit more and then we're going to get on out of here because I done kept my sister on here 2 hours. My Taurus is in my 8th house with her North Node. What would you say about that energy in this landscape?
So, well, the obviously that 8th house has to do with other people's values because the 2nd house has to do with your values. And so, if your North Node is sitting over there in your 8th house of other people's values, we'd have to look at some of the other aspects that are there that may be impacting that. But you may want to take a look at how much of other people's values are impacting yours. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to run and leap and go towards, because that's what North Node says, go infinity and beyond. Not saying that you need to go over there and be all about everybody's, their values. You need to take a good look at yours and how that is going to help you generate the to change. Now, let me go ahead and tell you a little about this 8th house right here. 8th house is traditionally ruled by Scorpio. Okay, so that would mean you got Scorpio sitting over there in your 2nd house. And some stuff may have been starting to occur back there in November. So I don't know what was going on in your house or with your values and with your money and all of that stuff back in November, but there's a little bit of some of that that's kind of playing right about now, or I believe that it is. That's what astrology normally tells me. But in that 8th house, what traditionally occurs is that you get 3 times around the bat, right? So the way it works, for me anyways, is that once you get to Libra, which is in that 7th house, where that's like you reap what you sow, you got to pick and choose. And then you get to that 8th house. And that 8th house is like, well, Levon, did you get what it was that you wanted when you planted that seed? And if your answer is no, well, then you get to go on and try and figure it out again. You get another shot at the bat. Now, if your answer is yes, I have learned my lesson, then you never have to repeat that lesson again. Now, and yes, you get to go on to the next level, right? But the goal, the key is that you don't want to repeat things that cause pain. And so you have to know the difference, because those things may be that those pain points may be tied to other people's values and not tied to your own. So take a look at your second house and figure out what it is that you need to get rid of, so that you don't have to be going through that eighth house lesson over and over and over again.
Does that help, Levon? Lovely. This is just lovely. I love this. Okay. Let's see if we can get another one. Illuminating Mystic Sounds and Meditations. North Node, 10th House, Taurus.
Well, 10th house, well, I guess you were over there doing something with your career, and how
Yeah.
you want to show up in the world. So you are planting some roots, doing some new roots. And so what that also means is that in your house of home, you are probably doing some restructuring and getting rid of some things. Now, I know that we had Moon in Scorpio over this past weekend. And so you may have been wanting to get rid of some things that, mm, well, because it seemed maybe a little too good to be true. I'm not sure. But you need to take a look at the things that are in your house before you, whether internally or in your house where you actually sleep, and see if you can look at those things a little bit differently. So if you haven't used it in 5 years, then it's safe to say that you can go ahead and get rid of it. But if you look at it and it, as Marie Kondo says, that it sparks some joy, then you need to go ahead and ask yourself, why does it spark joy? What did I originally want to do? Because, like Dr. Lisa said earlier, you are now getting the opportunity to do what it is that you've only dreamt of. And so, that thing that you may be wanting to get rid of, you may not need to get rid of it because, well, you're about to be able to plant those seeds in the right place this time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's beautiful. Virgo, what are you doing? Oh my God. It's playtime for the cats. Clearly. Because now Virgo has come into the room and she's decided she wants to. I don't know what you're playing with. I don't even want to look because I'm probably not going to be happy. We're going to put this down here. Okay. I'm putting another scroll down there, guys. So if you guys want to book a call with us, if you haven't done so earlier, 15-minute call to talk about getting into your purpose and following your dreams. If you wish to have a spirit infused business, we are accepting more. My goal for the remainder of August is to help 10 new light workers, 10 new folks coming in and working with us very closely to be able to launch your business. That's my goal for this month. 10. Let's see here. We got 8th house. Okay, Malika says that the Aquarius is also associated with individualism. Absolutely. Hello, Christina. Thank you. Oh, you're winding down. Oh, okay. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. I appreciate you. We got a busy day. Christina loves you, girl. She's feeling you. She's like, you're a powerhouse. You're a powerhouse. Levon says, thank you. Illuminating Mystic is in agreement. Oh boy, we got a North Node Taurus second house. We have a lot of people here with their North Nodes in Taurus. This is a very interesting season for y'all. Go ahead, my sister. I'm gonna let you take that one.
All right. So again, kind of like what we were saying with eliminating that, looking at your values, that those are the things that are up for question. And what's very interesting here is because if your Taurus is in second house, then that means that your Aries is in your first house. So very interesting to think about that, because it's very rare, of the hundreds of readings that and charts that I've seen, that someone's chart actually follows the way that it's actually supposed to be on the chart. So the first house is Aries. So you kind of
Mhm.
follow, for lack of better terms, the biblical reference of how the chart is supposed to look, right? So We are talking about seeds. You're talking about Jupiter, because now you've got that Jupiter in your first house, and it's like, Christina, now, girl, you're going to figure out who the hell you are. And when you're figuring out who the hell you are, you're going to figure out what your values are. And we're going to be working on those values, because maybe your values weren't necessarily placed in the right place before, because they may have been overly impacted by somebody else, or by your brethren, or by ancestral, I don't know what, right? So you get the opportunity to start all the hell over, okay? And so this time you're going to get it right. And it's going to be something that you're proud of, because it's actually something that you have created. So this is an opportunity for you to create yourself without any previous contraindications to stop you.
Go for it. That's the short and the long and the short of it all. Absolutely. Illuminating Mystic says, thank you. Okay, I'm not gonna take too many more, y'all. We got set. Tell us, while I'm looking through the rest of these here, how can we reach out to you to get our charts read?
Yes. Well, I am on the Instagram. So, and I'm on Instagram under the Southern Astrologer. So you can reach me through there. You can also reach me at the Southern Astrologer at Gmail. So those are the best two ways to set up an appointment with me for a reading.
So sorry. I was over there typing. Okay, so I'm putting it. So find her at the Southern Astrologer. I'm assuming there's no spaces in that, correct?
Right, correct.
On IG. Okay. Okay, wait. Stop. Here we go. Okay, now I got it. I'm putting it in the IG.
I'm also on the Facebook.
Okay. Well, I'll put your Instagram and your Gmail up. So guys, reach out to her. Reach out and touch. And you see she's like for reals. Like I don't she has said some names of some aspects I did not know existed. I'm gonna have to reach out to her and be like, girl, what is that? I ain't heard no parallel, this, that, and the third, child. I'll be playing an astrologer on television. North Node in Capricorn and Mars. Is your Capricorn in the 10th or just your Mars? I need to know, Ms. Gorgeous Greer, we need to know what sign rules your 10th. And we'll come right back to you. Lady D says she buying a house. Go ahead on. Bad, baby. Buy the house. Thanks. I'm loving this live too. I'm really enjoying it. Awesome. Oh, hey, Levon. I can't wait to see you, girl. Okay, here we got somebody else. Sag Sun, 10th house. Whew, Aqua Moon and Rising, first house. Child, that's a mess. Stellium in 11.
Rising first. And
So her moon and rising are Aquarius.
I guess you must have a very small 11th house, but you've got, okay, hold on. Sun in the 10th house.
Sag.
Rising first house. So we're missing some signs here.
So her So
So
she's gonna
you're
also have Pisces in the first house as well, maybe. We need to know, where's your Taurus? Where's Taurus? Where's, just tell me where Taurus is. Okay. McGorgeous, North Node in Capricorn.
so your north node is hold on. 10th house. Let me.
This is not making any sense to me. Okay. What's your rising? What's your ascendant? And what's your sun? What's your ascendant and what's your sun? Because North Node in Capricorn, Leo can't be in the, like, we can't have Capricorn and Leo in the 10th house. So we gotta, are you a 10th house Leo? Where's your sun? They signed the contract. All right. Is that, I'm hoping that's good. Okay, so drops of Jupiter, Taurus is in her second house.
Okay. So then this is all starting to blur together because I see Christina is saying that now
Okay.
her north node is in Pisces in the second house, and I'm like, girl, were
Okay,
you
I tell
reborn
y'all
all of a
what.
sudden?
What we're gonna do, we're gonna get y'all get y'all charts together. We'll choose another day
Yeah.
and come back and kind of do a kind of general thing.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
what we want you to do though, in between time, in the meantime, in between time, what we want you to do is we want you to see what house Taurus is in. That's it. Nothing else. Just see what house. Let me go down here so y'all can get this bigger. Let me undo this. I want y'all to, when you look at your charts, if you have your exact time of birth, then this will be accurate. I want you to see what house Taurus is in. And although I don't typically recommend going in, if you want to just get a general gist of what might be occurring for you for this 8-8 Lionsgate, you can kind of Google it, like the 8-8 line Taurus into this house. But if you want an accurate one, I want you to reach out to the Southern Astrologer. Don't reach out to me. Reach out to the Southern Astrologer. I ain't gonna be able to do your chart. Reach out to her and get a reading. Okay, get a reading from her. Okay.
I have one little thing that I do need to add since Christina did say that she was a second house Pisces, and we did the so
Yeah.
that second. So I just have to go ahead and say, just because I can't leave a reading undone. If I do something, I have to correct it. Let's put it that
Yes,
way.
that's fine.
That so the second house, so her second house, that Pisces thing. So there's still some energy going on because we were talking about that Pisces earlier before you actually hopped on the live.
Mm-hmm.
And so that there's that Neptune in there, and then there's that Venus that's making the aspect, and it's also making an aspect to Pluto. So you may have been feeling what I was saying about the second house in or Taurus, because, well, Taurus rules the second house and everything, but there's that whole thing. And then on top of that, Venus is being aspected, right? So basically, stop hoarding stuff. Don't stop watering dead plants in your second house of values. So I have to say that. I hope that doesn't. Christina knows me. Christina knows me.
No, but she knows why I'm putting my fan up to my face. You're dead. Yeah. We just had some, yeah. Okay. And on that note, because she's killing me softly with her song, killing me softly with her song,
Y'all got me on the hot seat up in here.
telling our whole lives with her words, She is literally all reading everybody's mail right now. I love it. I'm here for it because this proves if you did not think astrology was accurate, this proves it is. This proves it is. So, um, amazing. All right, guys. We're gonna get on out here because before she reads somebody else, and I'm not gonna let her read me for filth no more. I'm good. Um, I will though. I'm gonna pull one. I don't. These Egyptian oracle cards have been calling to me, so I'm gonna pull one for everybody, and we're going to see where we are at. So, um, when do you post videos on your channel, my love? Do you have a schedule yet?
Uh, sure. Um,
Okay, we'll work on that.
so I'm really trying to post on Sundays. I do the monthlies, I do dailies, which cover Monday through Thursday, and then I've got my little weekender where I cover Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So normally I'm posting on Sundays and I'm posting on Tuesdays, and that's it. That's the schedule for right now.
Okay, awesome. We are going to definitely be sure that we continue. You guys tell everybody about all your friends, your family, everybody about her. Let's get her channel growing. You can see she's just amazing. We're going to have her on here again, most definitely. She did not know what she done roped herself into. Um, yeah, we loved it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Drops of Jupiter. And I love that name, Drops of Jupiter, by the way. Thank you, Levon. Like this is like really, this all just kind of happened, just happened. Like it just happened. So I love it. Okay. I'm gonna actually, if you don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm gonna make us a little bit bigger, okay? Just so you know. So they can see the card. Just warning you, girl. Ah, taught, THOT, or Thoth is taught really. Wholeness. And I'm gonna read. I think that's so fitting. I think this is very fitting for what we're dealing with in this 8-8. Human shaped deity, yeah, with the head of an ibis or in the form of a baboon moon god, symbol of wisdom, lord of time. He is the protector of scribes and the inventor of writing, the god of magic, clairvoyance, and laws. He assists Anubis in judging souls and reaching decisions on their fate. I think we talked about that today. You are required to show self discipline, as this is the key to success in making progress at this lion's gate. Learn how to use intelligent resources if you want to successfully complete certain enterprises. Learn to be whole and to reject immoral tendencies. Be impartial in all the things you do if you want to pursue a complete and just life. I think that's quite fitting. The Alchemist, absolutely. Guys, thank you. I mean, girl, thank you so much for blessing us tonight. I so very much appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It was so fun.
Yay.
And thank everyone for being so kind to me.
This is amazing. We're gonna get this, we're gonna get some round tables going, child. All right, gang. We're gonna let our dear sister go. I'm gonna get on out of here because I feel like I probably got an early morning tomorrow, and y'all not gonna keep me up here all night long. Do you have anything you want to say to the people before we sign off, my dear?
Just want everyone to be patient with themselves. Have grace with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others only if they're kind to you. And what I always like to say is do me a favor and please make sure that you don't step in no cockadoodle doo doo because that stench is sure hard to get off your feet.
I can't. I cannot. I'm done. I'm done. TSA. That's what we go. I like that TSA. Text me, girl, when we get done here. All right, my dear. I'm gonna let you on down. We're gonna get on out here. Guys, this has been a fun evening. I had not anticipated this at all, but this is fun. I really like to have people up on the panel, and especially those that I, know and have worked with. So, guys, this is an open spot. Okay, my dear? It's an open spot. All right, we are going to let y'all go. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. We're going to see each other very soon. Namaste. Bye, y'all.